I'm a history major with a minor in biology. I've spent the past year as Director of Finance and Operations, doing some good work, I think, in student outreach, consultation, streamlining budgets, making appeals processes more fair. But I'm really interested in really working hard on campaigns and advocacy issues and transparency and accountability issues. And it's easiest to work on those issues as chair, where I can really focus on them. Like I said, I've spent the past year as Director of Finance and Operations. I have a really good understanding of how the society works and how the university works. I've got really well-developed relationships with all members of the university administration, which I think will be really beneficial in this position, one of the main roles of which is liaising with the university. I have a strong background in sustainability. I've worked on residence energy use projects, on campaigning for a more sustainable campus, renewable energy on campus, all those kinds of issues. And I have a strong background in grassroots organizing and outreach and consultation. Yeah, and I think I've also got the bright ideas and the right team for the job. So I think Kelsey has done a great job this year. I mean, things like helping to host Power Shift, which I was also a part of, working on streamlining policy, and she's done some work with me on outreach and consultation too. But I think that there's always room to do more, have more focus on that sort of transparency, outreach, engagement, and consultation. And also, we've done some great work on limiting legal fees this year, bringing those down into line, and I'd like to continue that work and build on it to make sure that while we don't sacrifice our values, we do make sure that we're being efficient with students' money and making the right choices about what needs to happen. I think it's a great idea. I mean, I've been involved with UVic for a long time, although it took a long time to convince me. It's a hard argument to make. I think it's one that needs to be thought through very carefully. But I think in the end it is the right argument, and I'm really excited to move forward with that campaign. Obviously, not as one of the core campaigns of the UVSS. Our resources are stretched pretty thin, working on important issues like affordability, transit, and the rest. Sexualized violence, including this year, which was really good. But I'm really excited to move forward with it and support that campaign. It's important to work on climate justice from a broader perspective, not just focused on campus sustainability. Yeah, so I mean, I've mentioned a lot of things already. I think that, I mean, and getting back to the earlier question about what I do differently this year, one campaign that we haven't worked on in the past is around affordable housing, around rent issues, obviously something that affects a lot of students and is basic to quality of life. And the municipal election coming up in the fall is going to be a great place to address those kinds of issues. So I really want to engage students, particularly in that campaign, but obviously transit, affordable education, sexualized violence are all things that I'm also passionate about. I love policy. I was key in helping to draft the ABCS constitution bylaws. I think we spent like 9 hours over the day until like 11 or 12 one night working on that document. It was a haul, but it's really fun. It's fun getting to the nitty-gritty details and making sure that your policy is actually saying exactly what you want it to be doing, which is really tricky. It requires a lot of attention to detail, but I think I've got the skills to make that happen. This is a really tough question. It's a really big question. The purpose of the UVSS is to make campus life more awesome for students and to provide resources to students to do the kinds of things they want to make their lives easier. And that encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses events, throwing kick-ass parties so that students can unwind and build campus community, which our Director of Events candidate, Ian Kopp, is going to be great at. It encompasses clubs, course unions, advocacy groups, making sure those groups have the resources to get the things done that they need to get done. And our Director of Student Affairs candidate, Allison Root, is going to be great at that. It encompasses campaigns, political advocacy group. Greg Atkinson is going to be great at that. But it also encompasses directly training and giving opportunities for students to develop their own capacity to make the changes they want to see, both academically, which is going to be my big focus this year, and politically, which I'll also be focusing on, and which has been my focus in the past. As I've said, my main goals are around accountability, transparency, making sure that people feel like their voices are included in the UVSS. I've got the experience to make that happen. I've started working on it this year, but also mobilizing students effectively to make changes on campus. I talk about in my platform exploring the idea of making student professor evaluations public to students. Other campuses do it. It's a plausible solution to improve transparency and make campus and academic life easier for students. But yeah, basically they revolve around engagement, transparency, and helping students make changes on campus and off campus, like the municipal elections I mentioned, mobilizing, engaging students for that. That's really tough. There's so many good food options on campus, and my favorites I think are in the sub. International Grill is great, but I've also been recently converted to Health Food Bar, marinated lentil salad. Marinated lentil salad is delicious. And some of the vegan and gluten-free options there too are so good, which is sometimes surprising for vegan and gluten-free stuff.